The food service, hospitality, and retail industries are evolving in ways you've never heard of until now. Hosted by global industry technovator Rob Grimes and powered by the IFBTA, TechBytes is your go-to podcast, putting technology innovation and trends on the menu.
Well, welcome to another edition of TechBytes. And this is in preparation for the March Madness of going to like 8 different industry events around the world for the IFBTA. And one of them is one of our favorites that we do every year, and we've been doing it for a long time, as a matter of fact, is HRC, Hotel, Restaurant, and Catering in the UK at the Excel Center on March 17th through 19th. And with me is the portfolio director, Philippa, who's with the Montgomery Group, and she handles a portfolio of events, of which many of them are centered around this. So welcome to TechBytes.
Thank you very much for having me, Rob. Delighted to be here.
So this is your second year doing HRC?
Yeah, it's my 5th year working in the portfolio of food, drink, and hospitality. And I took HRC on, I think this is the second edition we've got of HRC from me personally. But HRC as a show has been going for 90 years. So we'll be celebrating its 90th year this year.
90 years, that's a lot. So I guess that neither one of us were around for the early years, but okay. So you're a portfolio director and you have a number of events going on at one time. So can you describe HRC for us, but also what that looks like in total?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a number of shows and they sit under the umbrella of Food, Drink and Hospitality Week. So this is the place for the entire food, drink, hospitality industry to come to. The one place in the year at Excel in March. We have HRC, which is focused on the entire breadth of the hospitality industry and has a wealth of different products on site, with the heart of it being technology. We also, sitting next to that is another show, IFE, another event been going since 1979, that is all about finished food products, and there are thousands of finished food products on the show floor there from all over the world. We also host IFE Manufacturing. This is everything that would happen in the factory, from packaging, equipment, ingredients, everything that goes into making that product. Also alongside Food, Drink and Hospitality Week sits the pub show, which sits very nicely with HRC. That is absolutely dedicated to everything going on in the pub and bar industry.
Well, that's a lot of different events going on at one time. But if I think about it, what you're really talking about is a single place where anybody who's working in any aspect of the hospitality, food service industry, and even retail, that, there's that crossover, can come together and really see it all in one place and understand how it fits. And I don't think, even though there are some siloed individual things here and there, even in the UK or around the world, this is one that really brings them all together at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you hone in on HRC specifically, because that is what your listeners are probably very interested in, because that's where we house all the tech and the hospitality tech, that covers the whole wealth of the industry. So if you are visiting, you can see everything you see front of house, from furniture, tableware, all interiors. There's a food and drink section. There is everything you would see in the kitchen, from light equipment to heavy professional equipment. And then what links everything together is what's driving us all forward, is the technology aspect, which is really exciting. It's constantly changing, and everyone in the industry, this is a tough industry, hospitality, but technology is starting to provide so many answers to those pain points. And the show is a place where you can source these products, find out more, educate, but also be part of all the other things that are going on the floor in terms of content and discussion, discovery, learning, meeting new connections. We're all sort of in it together, and we're all very passionate about hospitality and food and drink.
Well, let's go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and break that down. The one comment I would make is that I'm not exactly sure what the definition of technology is today, because last year when I went to the show, I'm taking a look at food tech that was there, meaning agri-tech and, plant-based foods. And I'm taking a look at all kinds of different things. that are there that is also considered technology, as well as equipment technology, because a lot of times in my world, people are thinking about point of sale and they're thinking about signage and they're thinking about this, but they're not necessarily thinking about the ovens and how it all fits together. And even when you bring in pubs, the automated, coffee machines, and you bring in, different pub type of things, there's all kinds of things that are there. So who knows? Technology is really everywhere. It may not just be in front of you, but you do have a section on that. But let's focus on a few things. How many people do you expect to come to the show this year?
Okay, so we've several thousand products on the show floor, and then visitor-wise across the portfolio, we normally expect around about 30,000 attendees. So there is a huge amount to see. So a bit of pre-planning is needed, but also that wonderful thing, which is why we like live events, is the serendipity element of discovering things when you're there, meeting new people.
Absolutely. So let's start with content, because, a lot of things, there are different things, as you've mentioned. You can see all the products, you can network with people, but there's also the content, which really is an important part. So can you talk about some of the content and some of the presentations and speakers?
Yeah, so we've got about 200 speakers across about 150 sessions. They are all taking part in terms of in different formats. So workshops, roundtables, seminars, live debates, and some fireside chats. We curate a lot of these ourselves, but we also curate with fantastic partners. We love working with yourself, Rob, and Peach, Tech on Toast, UK Hospitality. Everybody sort of puts into the mix and helps curate a fantastic program. There's loads of different seminar theatres. There are some that bring to life food and drink. We have a new products tasting theatre that is just new products that are just out on the market. We run International Salon Culinaire, which is the largest and most prestigious culinary competition. That has about 900 competitors and over 100 judges of some of the top chefs. So you kind of get the scale of what's going on. We work with a partner called Chef Publishing, who work on a Chef HQ feature for us. That is very much the leading chefs, very high end, doing demos, but also it's fun. There's lots of chat and interview process within that demo area as well. We're delighted to welcome back Alan Rue, Tom Brown, Adam Wing, really well-known names in the UK chefing industry. We have a TechX stage, which will be jam-packed full for 3 different days. We'll kick off that with quite overarching themes on the first day. So we've got a great fireside chat on the Monday, which is from Peter Martin will host it, and Tom James, who is the MD of Bill's Restaurants, is going to really talk about how tech is transforming the hospitality industry. And then from there, we'll dive deeper into more sort of siloed streams, some aimed at operations and efficiency, some very much around how tech can help marketing, loyalty, guest experience, and then some more HR aimed at people management, employees. So there is a lot going on.
And there's a whole tech section actually itself, even though there's probably tech embedded in almost everything across the whole event. There's a whole tech section as well.
Yeah, we have loads of exhibitors that are on the show floor, from big names right down to little startups. So we've got a lovely launchpad area with brand new companies, all focusing on different aspects. They'll be doing little pitching slots on the Wednesday. They're like 10-minute power pitches. It's quite fun. There's well-known names that you will have heard of, Travalis and Planday, Access Group, Cobas. So there's a lot to see. We also know that technology is quite hard. It's not the easiest to navigate sometimes in terms of building your stack and everything. So there's sessions around that, helping people understand how to make
that's necessary
strategy.
Because the show, appeals to both the big companies as well as the smalls and the independents, and even people that are thinking about starting out. So to be able to provide, that expert advice and be able to help people to understand what they're looking at, because sometimes people are operators first, right? And the technology is there, but they don't understand it all about how to select that tech stack. But it's for somebody big and it's for somebody small and somebody starting out.
Yeah, and I think that's why a live event is so good for something like this, because you can come and find out about things, but then you can talk to other people and start to fit the jigsaw together. You can go to educational content pieces to learn how to perhaps create the strategy and and kind of move forward in that way. We're working with a partner to put together a feature which is called our Tech Exchange, and that's very much is powered by Toti, and you can go in there and put in information about all your pain points, and it will show you where to go on the show floor, which exhibitors are relevant to the particular pain points you have in your industry. So the whole event's set up to help problem solve.
One of the key things that you mentioned was networking. And we know, and look, we're talking about in-person events. They're very important. People get together and they network. But I know you have some specific, besides just running into somebody in the booth, in the hall, at the coffee shop or whatever. But what kind of networking is going on that really helps to bring people together besides what they do on their own on the floor?
Okay, there's lots of bits and bobs all over the 3 days. To give you a couple of examples of things your listeners might want to get involved in, on the Monday we have a drinks reception for the tech community, which will be at the end of the day. We have a fantastic 90th celebration of HRC where we invite everybody in the community to come together. That will be at 3 o'clock on the Monday. Something else which is exciting, I've just remembered about, it is actually St. Patrick's Day whilst we are on site at the show. The pub show, which is co-located next to HRC, they will be doing a pub lock-in and celebrating everything in regards to the pub industry. And we'll be having drinks there. That's another great networking event. All of these bringing their buyer and supplier community together to sort of make connections, but also have
And a
really good,
person who has a
interesting
pass for the show can
conversations.
really go to any of them, right?
Yeah, so if you register for HRC, you will also get access to all the other events that are co-located.
What about the profile of the types of visitors to the show? Where are they coming from? International, domestic, different market segments?
So this is the main event for the UK industry. We do have international visitors as well, but it is predominantly a UK show. We are very strong in the chefing community and restaurants, so big restaurant chains. They will be coming from UK wide and from different job aspects. So you've got the chef side in terms of the food and drink, but also very much from the operational and marketing kind of job titles are coming in. Big contract caterers. So if I look at the list we've got of people signed up, it's Sodexo, Aramark, those kinds of companies.
Well, they help to support and participate also in your chef's competition.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the Salon Culinary, which runs very early in the morning, I think they kick off at 8 and they run all day, right past when the show's closed, so they can fit all the competitions in. Those contract caterers are very much part of the groups that are taking part and exhibiting. And you might have to edit that bit, Rob.
But what I find interesting about the contract catering segment and that competition is a lot of times people have this impression about, we call that on-site or non-traditional food service. They have this impression that they're very limited in what they can do because they went to a office building or a university or something like that, or a hospital. And you see, but when you see what these chefs are doing in there, the artistic work, and I've seen ice sculptures, I've seen all kinds of things over the years. It's just amazing, really what these types of chefs and that end of food service can bring and show. And that's actually great for restaurateurs and regular food service operators as well.
Yeah, absolutely. On the show floor, I guess we cater for the entire chef community. So we have like a chef skills area where that really is for the entry point into chefing, and people like showcasing their skills and getting acknowledged and celebrated through sort of awards in that respect. And then going right up to this amazing Salon Culinaire competition where there are teams. These are teams of chefs from contract caterers, from the army, from all different places, competing, showcasing what they're doing. We also have the salon display, which showcases those exciting things you said in terms of the artistry when it comes to chefing. Then on Chef HQ, that's very much high end. A whole bank of Michelin star chefs will be there throughout the 3 days, demonstrating, talking industry topics, but having fun as well. Hospitality is about people and fun and atmosphere and an enjoyable day out. This is a fun trade show.
You'd mentioned sort of the startup and new innovation. Could you talk a little bit more about that in the pitches and how somebody got in there and the types of things somebody would see?
Yeah, I'm not going to do the pitch because I won't do them justice. You need to come and hear them speak themselves on the Wednesday lunchtime. But this is really our way to make sure there's innovation coming into the show. So they are small stands and they're set up as an easy way to exhibit for a company that wants to come in. So it's very low cost and sort of low maintenance in terms of getting yourself there. So that attracts some innovation coming in, which is great. Everyone wants to see what's new. I'd say the spread of what's on that bit of the show floor is wide. There are people looking at helping you with your tech stack and pulling this together. There are companies there that are looking at food waste and recipe management and using technology to make clever decisions about efficiencies there. There is a company that looks at mapping your customers on the show floor and the movements and everything and collecting the data from that to give you insights into how you can make improvements for your business. So I'd say there's a wealth of
There's
fun,
new ideas.
interesting new ideas coming up there. Yeah.
Yeah, I always enjoy walking through those because the one question I always ask people when I see them is I'll say, "What was your inspiration?" Because not all those things are created by people who came from the industry. And it's very interesting the answers of why somebody thought that there was a need, how they got into it. And then you'll watch some companies that make it, some don't make it, and some form partnerships that they meet, where the technologies actually really fit well together. But by being at the show and displaying, it's not only good for the attendee, but it's also good for the person who's presenting because they get instant opinion and they get to see other new technologies as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think sometimes people look at exhibitions as that immediate transactional sale thing, but it isn't. It's so much more. Actually, exhibiting your products and getting on the ground feedback as we're all developing and improving our own products all the time. I mean, that's gold dust to hear it from your buyer's mouth, the feedback on it. And also that partnership piece is really important. What business is about people, and it's about meeting people and opportunity, and it might not be the next day, it could be 6 months down the line, but the people you have met at the show might open another door here or there, and you do not get that from sitting behind your desk in your office.
You got to get out and you got to see and you got to experience what's there, and you can't do that over a Zoom. Even for me, this would not be a satisfactory conversation if I don't get to have one with you in person as well, and with the vendors that are there. Let me just ask you, you said that you've been involved in different areas of the portfolio for a number of years, but this is the second year with HRC. Are there some things that sort of surprised you, even though you were in the business, that you hadn't really thought about before, and now you got directly involved, and now you see what's coming in year two here for you? And are there some things that even surprise you that you're looking forward to seeing how it turns out?
I think there's always surprise and there's always things that develop differently from what you expected, and I guess that's what makes it exciting. I think from HRC in particular, I don't know if this was a surprise, but it was a sort of reality as to um, the complexity of what we have to deal with. It isn't a straightforward industry, and even the supply chain is not as simple. I've done so much in retail. This is more complex. And it's a more volatile industry. It's peaks and troughs. It's so navigating a show and wanting to showcase everything is a complex machine. We have to market it very smartly behind the scenes to make sure we get the right job titles there. And the buying process is not always straightforward. There's perhaps a lot of people involved in it. So the complexities of making sure you have the right visitor mix and the right exhibitor mix is probably most complicated of any event I've ever run, but it makes it really exciting. Now I've really got under the skin of it and understand what's going on. We've got the most amazing developments for 2026 already in play. So when you visit this year, you will see a phenomenal show, but we are absolutely showcasing the future and what we're going to be doing for the following year. And we're inviting everyone that's exhibiting, visiting to really give their feedback. So you will see around the show QR codes where you can put in your input. We are a facilitator for events, and we put on this event for the industry. So we want the industry to tell us what they
Well, it's a
want.
single community as well, in there. So this is March 17 to 19 at the XL Center in the UK. The IFBTA will be there, HRC, Hotel, Restaurant, and Catering 2025. but we just heard we're thinking about 2026 and we're just starting 2025, but you got to think that far ahead. And, there's going to be a lot of interesting conversations. Is there it's very hard to do in a day. I can tell you that. Because it's very spread out. And if you really want to see everything, which I encourage people to do, don't just come for one siloed area, because you have to understand how it all fits together, why these are there. Is there a piece of advice you'd give to somebody pre-planning before they go to the show?
100%. I would always advise to have a look at the sessions on the stages. You can filter very easily on our website in terms of what activity or area you're interested in. Pick out your top sessions, pick out your top exhibitors. But my main thing I would say, which I've fallen foul to many times, is kind of don't chock your diary completely, because the joy of an event is sometimes those things that just come up on the show floor, the conversation or something that catches your eye. So you've got to give your time some flexibility to make that magic happen. So give yourself time. You will absolutely need more than one day if you want to get the most out of it.
And you know what? So rightly said, because I talk to so many people that I ask or that come to meet with me while I'm there, and Lauren also, who comes from the IFBTA, and they'll tell me, well, we've only got this time block. We're here for a few hours or something. And then they get there and you find out, oh my gosh, there's so much more here, and I only allotted, this amount of time. So I think the advice of, pre-plan, look at all the content in the sessions, which you had said about 200 speakers, 150 sessions, spread over the full 3 days. But there are so many different components and so many different sections. It's good to study it in advance and, really sort of plan your show, but leave that time, as you said, that's there. So, I want to thank you for joining me this morning. Philippa Christa, who is the portfolio director from the Montgomery Group. She's got a lot on her plate, so to speak, coming up in mid-March, March 17 to 19, Excel Center in the UK, HRC. And I just want to thank you for joining me, and I'll look forward to speaking with you in person in a few weeks.
Great. Thank you very much for hosting me. And I'm looking forward to those doors opening 10 o'clock on the 17th of March down at Excel. We will be welcoming thousands and hopefully lots of your listeners.
This podcast is brought to you by the International Food and Beverage Technology Association. The IFBTA is the industry's voice of food service, hospitality, and retail technology, providing thought leadership as your single, impartial, and go-to resource. The IFBTA offers in-person and online communities to connect with your peers, the exchange, an all-encompassing global technology resource, and an industry-wide professional education and certification program. The bottom line is the IFBTA is your place to gather, learn, and share in conversations like the one we're having today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of TechBytes, powered by the IFBTA. I'm Rob Grimes, your host, and I look forward to taking our next bite of technology together.